Hi Taurus, welcome to your week ahead tarot scope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. Quick note, my readings are for your sun, moon and ascendant sign. So whether you're a sun, moon or rising sign Taurus, this is for you. And I always advise that you watch all three to get a clearer, more complete picture of how they're going to speak to you. With that said, remember they are general readings. Not everything's going to resonate with everybody, and that is just fine. You should always use your own discernment. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my deck of cards with forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance, and I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help you on your path to your highest vibrational good. So this week, my dear Taurians, you have the Empress. This is effectively your card. I mean, it's at least one of them, because the Empress is your ruler, Venus. So what does this tell you? This tells you that this week is going to be fruitful. This is going to be a week where some of your best work is done. This is a week where the seeds that you are planting in the fertile soil that is your life is coming to fruition. For those of you that have been going through it or had challenges with getting things over the finish line, this is the week that you turn a corner. This is the week where all of your efforts are amplified. So you need to make sure that your mind, your head, your focus, your attention, your energy is all pointing in the direction that you actually want to go. And you are focusing on the things that you really do want to grow in your life. I love the Empress for... it's usually like when we talk about, so when I talk about juicy gossip, I'm not talking about sort of, you know, like, oh, so-and-so sleeping with this person and, oh, that woman thinks she's better than everybody else. I don't give a crap about any of that stuff. I really don't. I'm sorry to say, but it's just not who I am. Do I like trash TV every so often? Absolutely. I love a little bit of drama in that regard, but outside of that, in like real world terms, when I talk about juicy gossip, I'm talking about like a hot tip. I'm talking about, a friend who is a crypto geek coming to you and saying, listen, this coin is at this price at the moment. You want to buy it now because it's never going to be this price again, and you can make a whole bunch of money. This suggests that this week you could get a piece of information, a tidbit of information that could make all the difference to some of your future plans. So keep your ears open. With that said, if you are a continued subby, you know Rafi loves you. If you're new to my channel, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit the subscribe button. For your actions and options, you have the 10 of Wands. So this is releasing burdens. This is moving in different directions. So for some of you, this could literally be that you are changing, like for some of you, you could literally be changing a location of some kind. For others, this does suggest to me that you are getting a deeper understanding of where you want to be. So what do I mean by that? Because the 10 of Wands is about the release of a burden. So something that you've been putting your time, effort and energy into is now starting to come good. This is where you're starting to see the results. This is where you're starting to gain those rewards on a practical level. And because this is in your actions and options center, this is really, in a lot of ways, you're considering where it is that you want or need to be, where it is that you want or need to go. So I'm really here for it. I really like this. The other thing with that 10 of Wands, I would say this week, just with the Empress card, be careful of overdoing it in conversations. Like there's good sharing and there's sort of oversharing, and you just want to make sure you're not doing the latter over the course of this week, because Venus, as we very well know, is a chatty hoe. Sorry, I can't believe I just said that. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it like that or to be disrespectful, but you know, I'm jesting. Now, that being said, you've got, sometimes I really, the filter Raf, for your communications and conversations, you've got the Queen of Wands. So this could be, because you've got the Queen of Wands and you've got the Empress, this could be an Aries, Leo or Sagittarius woman that you are meeting, connecting with, working with or alongside this week. Or it could just be a woman that is really fiery, feisty. The way that you tend to see the Empress coupled with the Queen of Wands, this is somebody that is very sexually charged, somebody that really knows their mind, somebody that really knows their body, somebody that is very aware of all of their attributes and skills. This is someone that's very self-confident, very self-aware. And I like this. I like those kinds of people, because then, you know, what you see is what you get. And that is definitely a mark of this person. You'll probably know them as well because they'll be really easy on the eyes. And that's not about whether you fancy them or whatever. Like, they tend to be people that show up with the Empress, they tend to be quite beautiful. So when it comes to your communications this week, you are on fire. You are on point. Like, you're really very focused this week on getting your message or your point across. So I love this. When it comes to this with the Ten of Wands, this suggests that you are very active. You're very communicative this week. There's a lot of sharing. There's a lot of exchanging of ideas and information. It's going to be a very busy week in that regard, actually. What I will say to you in terms of that Queen of Wands, for those of you that are studying or in some form of academia, it's like you find your flow, you find your message, you find your stride with whatever it is that you're trying to put together or to create. So for those of you that are writing things like essays or theses, or essays or a thesis, probably a better way to say it, you could really sort of find your flow and get into that sort of energy of like, yes, you know what, this thing is basically writing itself. For those of you that are employed by somebody else, I mean, I gotta be honest, it looks like you're going to be running the show this week. It looks like you are head honcho or in charge. And this is likely to be because somebody vouches for you. It's likely to be because somebody steps in to say, well, listen, you know what, we need this, and actually this person, this Taurus person, has got the knowledge, they've got the skill, they've got the whatever. So it's like somebody's almost nominating you for a position that you don't have. Do a good job, because you may end up getting to keep it. For those of you that are business owners, entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, this fire sign woman is likely to be somebody that really helps you step forward in a way, or gives you at least a different perspective or insight that really helps you understand what you're trying to deliver. And I think that's a part of this as well. I gotta say, this is going to be a busy week. You can't sort of slack. You got to keep showing up this week. When it comes to your those of you that are retired and no longer working, the Queen of Wands is very dynamic. So whatever you're doing, whether you're getting paid for it or not, this is a week to jump in. And it looks like a week where you are sort of in that same spirit, just getting on with it, which is great. In your heart and half, or your love and relations, what do we see here? So we've got two tens. Two tens represents a change, and usually it's a big change at that. It's one that we've worked on. I get the feeling that it's one that you've worked on or worked towards, because like I said, you're turning a corner. Now, when we start doing it good at work, or things start taking off in the career life, it is known that if you're in a partnership or a relationship, at times that gets in the way of your relationship. Sometimes it can cause a problem or a challenge. I hope that's not the case, but this is something that you do need to be aware of and prepared for, because the Ten of Swords is never an easy card, and it can be a bust up. Now, it doesn't have to be a relationship ender. It really doesn't, because you've got the Empress there as well. She's kind of smoothing off the edges of this, but I wouldn't be surprised if there are a little bit of tension in part. So for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little bit of tension this week. That being said, you've got the Seven of Swords coupled with that Ten of Swords, and so I want to say to you, this is not a week. So for those of you that are partnered, married, or in long-term commitments, this is not a week to lie to your partner about your resources. If you don't have the money for something, if you've dipped into the savings, if you're planning to dip into the savings account or whatever, you be as honest and as open and as transparent as you possibly can, because with that Seven of Swords and the Ten of Swords, that's a lie that causes a big bust up. You can avoid the bust up by just not telling the lie or revealing it, sooner rather than later. Whenever you think about arguments in couples, isn't it usually that someone says like, why didn't you just tell me that at the time? Why didn't you tell me that like a month ago? And sometimes it's not necessarily the lie that you've told. Sometimes it's the amount of time that you've told that lie for. So, use some discernment this week. Now, for those of you that are single, look, I've got to be honest. There could be somebody that's actually just trying to date you, and because your heckles are up, you're quite sort of, So it's really important that if there is somebody that, you know, is annoying you, check the reason behind why that is. You know, they might just be trying to get your attention, and you're so like that you end up mistaking it for them, you know, disliking you or trying to cause a problem. For your money and materials, you've got the Seven of Swords. So if there is a financial commitment that you are planning to make that ends up falling through, like you were going to buy something, maybe like a car, or I don't know, maybe you were going to buy a coaching course or whatever, and for some reason it doesn't go ahead, the Seven of Swords is basically saying you dodged a bullet. So whatever financial transaction doesn't go through this week, you're actually being protected. For your physical health and vitality, your nervous system, you've got to take care of yourself this week. Go for a massage, go for a run, you know, go to a spa day, whatever it might be. When it comes to, when it comes to your home and environment, the Seven of Swords so you've got this with the Empress. This is where we leave something unattended. This is not the week to, oh, you know, I left the kids' bikes in the front garden and I went to the shops, I came home and they were gone. This is that kind of thing. Don't do it, all right? This week, just keep your wits about you when you're placing items outside of the home, in the garden, on the balcony, you know, all the rest. I mean, if you're, you know, on the 10th floor, then obviously it's not going to be an issue, but just be mindful. All right, with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Take care, and I'll see you soon.